What's up guys, Alex from FIFA Scouting Tips here, and welcome to Season 3 Episode 1 of Pompey Youth Stars. We've just started the new season, got promoted to the Premier League. This season is going to be extremely tough. I'm going to try and play every game just to show you the kind of struggle we're up against, and also because I don't really trust the simming. I think we're going to get hammered if we try and sim the games. So we are now on the first day of July in the new season. I'm going to show you my budget that we've been given this season because it is not a lot. £900,000 in transfer funds and £4,300 in wages. That's really going to have to be stretched far if we're going to do well this season. I'm probably going to have to loan some players in, have a look at the free agents list and try and find some good scouted players, because I'm not really going to be able to afford to buy very many players with that kind of budget. It's pretty small. So we're going to try and make the most of that if we can. I'm also going to show you our objectives this season. So we have the objective to avoid relegation, not really very surprising there. So I think that is doable. We have some very high quality players in the team like Paulette. Most importantly, perhaps, we have a fantastic goalkeeper in Doherty, so he is going to be absolutely instrumental in trying to keep us up. And in the cup, we want to reach the round of 32. So that's the objectives we've been given, and the budget we've also been allocated. Okay, here are the players I'm looking to sell and loan out this season. Hickford and Pimentel are going to be sold because they are just not growing at all. They've completely stalled recently, and there's not much point keeping them in the team if they're not going to do much. So we're going to sell them on and try and get them out of the team and raise some money. We're also going to loan a load of players, including a couple that I've just promoted like Nichols and Vatanen, and loan out some other players who probably won't get that much game time, and we can sort of get them off the books and stop them complaining about their lack of game time. And also, as you may well know, when you loan a player out and then when they come back, their potential can change. So it's possible that some of these players may get a higher potential. Of course, it's also possible that they may get a lower potential, so we're going to have to be careful with that. Just something to look out for. But if we get rid of Hickford and Pimentel, we could raise a little bit more money to go in the transfer kitty. Won't make a huge amount of difference, but hopefully it could make a little bit of difference and help us out a bit. So it's the first of the month, and I'm going to do a really quick rundown of our players so far. So we have Doherty on 76, and he is growing, which is great news. He seemed to stall a little bit last season, but he's growing in stats now, which is good. Then David Brown 68, Angus Hickford on 61, who I'm going to be getting rid of. Liam Osborne on 64, Paddy Malloy on 61, he's already grown, so he's gone up 1 point. Danny Corey has also grown, he's now on 65. Then we have Emerick Boviger on 66, Joe Hayes on 58, he's going to be loaned out. Brad Knight on 64, Hiroki Tasaka on 63 still seems to be completely stuck. I might actually loan him out and recall him just to see if we can hopefully boost his potential a little bit, because he's just completely stuck on 63. Then Dylan Quinton on 70, James Smith on 61, Frederick Mathis on 62, Shuttleworth of Tannen on 60, he's going to be loaned out. Curtis Simpson 54 plus 1 already, but he's also going to be loaned out. Mohamed Sobi on 68, you'll notice he is also homesick, so had to see whether he wants to stay or not. That could be a bit frustrating. Keaton Nichols on 61, then Ryan Green on 61 as well. Kelvin Bong 73, he's grown a point, fantastic news already. Samuel Ajay Boateng on 70, he was fantastic last year when he joined us. Jennison Bennett on 69, grown a point as well. Then Fidel Pimentel on 60, who is going to be sold. Then we have Yuri Lodigan on 67, he's grown a point as well. Then we have a couple of real players before we get to Michael Pender, who has grown up to 72 now. Then Michael Coyne 64, newly promoted, he hasn't grown, but his stats are going up a little bit. Then Nicholas Abdelhamid on 67 plus 1, Dimitri Garassi on 66, and Andrew Robson, who's going to be loaned out on 64. Then Darren Paulette, the main man, on 77, going to be an absolutely key player this season, really need him to perform well. Then Mitsuharu Paula Daniel, grown a point to 65, and then we have a couple more real players as well. So we had some decent growth in there. We'll have to see how the players do when they're out on loan and throughout the course of this season. Right, I mentioned it earlier about Subby being homesick, and it says here I would like to leave the club, so he's finally decided that he wants out. We all know how the homesick thing works in FIFA. He'll say he's homesick and then he'll go to a club in the same country. It's a bit broken, but he wants to leave the club, so that is the main thing. And at the same time, on the very same day, we had this transfer offer for Sobby, and it's come in from Leeds, and they are offering £1.7 million, which would be a great amount. But if you look at the chief executive comments, it says we could get up to £2.8 million for him. So I think I might I might push it a little bit beyond that because we want to try and get as much money as we can. If he's going to leave, we want to try and get a good amount for him. So I'm going to push it slightly above that to £3.2 million. These are a fairly financially secure club, so they can probably afford something like that. So let's submit that and see if they accept that, and we could make a little bit of money from him. Right, so we've got a load of messages coming in here. One from the chief executive saying we have the last scouting report available for Uruguay. Esteban Navarro, someone who was scouted over the summer, looks pretty decent, 73 to 91 potential, and he is a winger, so I think we will sign him up. He looks very good. And Juan Torres, 63 to 87. It's kind of a difficult one really, because his potential could be okay, but it's the last opportunity we have, so I think we will take him. Because it doesn't cost that much, and we can always reject him if he turns out to be not that great later, only because it's the last opportunity we had to evaluate him. So we have another offer here for Mohamed Sobi, this one from Blackburn, 1.6 million. Again, I'm going to push it up to a little bit just over 3 million just to see what they say about it. So we'll submit that one to them. Then we have one from Leeds saying the maximum they want to spend is £2.8 million. Well, considering that is the top end of what our chief executive reckons we can get for him, I think that's not bad. I think I'm going to be quite cheeky and I'm going to meet them halfway, because we said £3.2 million, they said 2.8, so I'm going to go for 3 million. Hopefully they'll accept that. That's sort of halfway point, and we can make a deal on top, because if we're going to have to sell him, we want to try and get a decent amount of money for him. And in any case, we have this message from the board saying that we have agreed to sell the player as soon as possible, and we'll be grateful if you could inform Sobi of our decision. So they want to get rid of him as well, so it looks like he's on his way out, so we'll just have to see how much we can get for him. Right, piece of good news here. Blackburn said they have accepted the asking price of £3.2 million for Sobi, so that's good. We should get a decent price for him. Hopefully that can help us bring in some extra players, or maybe a scout. We'll have to see. So we have this other message from David Brown asking to have an increased contract, increased wages, so we'll go and have a look at that right now. Okay, so Brown is on £500. He wants £3,000. That's going to take a little bit of a dent out of our wage budget. If you see here, it'll be down to £800, but if you bear in mind that we have now got a guaranteed sale of Sobi, that's going to bring in some extra funds, so we can definitely afford that. If you watched my last season with this, you would have seen that he grew 5 points. He was fantastic last season, grew so much, and he is an exciting prospect, so we want to keep hold of him because he is going to be one for the future and it's going to be fantastic. So we will keep hold of him by giving him a better contract. Right, Leeds have just come back and said they don't want to spend any more than £2.8 million. That's fine, because we have that offer from Blackburn for £3.2 million, so we'll reject Leeds' one, and Sobi will be going to Blackburn. Right, so two pieces of good news here. Sobi has been sold. Didn't really want to sell him originally, but when he's homesick and he wants to leave and the board want him to leave, there's not really much choice. So we sold him for £3.2 million. That's put £2.7 million into our budget, which is a really nice boost considering we started the season with just £900,000. So we'll have a look at how we can spend that soon. And also David Brown has accepted his contract, so he's going to be sticking around as well. So two good pieces of news there. Right, we have a transfer offer for Angus Hickford, and it is from Shrewsbury. His value is £120,000 and they want £100,000. I think, to be honest, I think I'll accept that. There's not going to be a huge amount of difference. If you have a look, we've sold Sobi, so we now have 3.5 million in the budget. £20,000 here and there won't make much difference, so I will accept that and get him sold. So we have another offer here, this one for Fidel Pimentel, and it is from Rangers. They want him for £140,000. His value is £160,000. Again, not very much difference, only £20,000, so I will accept that and get him sold to Rangers. And then we also have another message here saying that Angus Hickford has been sold and it's added £80,000 to our budget. So now that we have had Murphin return from his scouting trip and Sobi has been sold, we can now fire Murphin and get a better scout. So we will fire him now, and let's see who we've got. So we have £3.6 million. We can afford a much better scout. We could afford this one here, in fact, 4 stars for experience and 3 for judgment. He costs £2.2 million. It'll leave us with about £1.4 million left, so that's actually not at all bad. So I think we will go for him, and hopefully he will now be able to find us some much better players. So I have just received an offer for Mitsuharu Paula Daniel, who I want to send out on loan, and it is from Dagenham, who are right down the divisions, and of course we're in the Premier League, so you don't want to send your players out on loan to teams in the same division, otherwise they could get affected by form. If they play badly, they get into bad form, then they won't grow much. So that doesn't happen if you send them to teams in different leagues. So that is what I'm going to be doing here, sending him out to Dagenham. Nothing wrong with that, so he will hopefully get some experience and grow nicely. So we'll send off I think accept that offer. Then we also have this message from our new scout saying that he has arrived and he is ready to scout. And then finally we have sold Fidel Pimentel to Rangers and got £120,000 in the bank. So now that Ben Schumacher has arrived, we're going to send him off to go on a scouting mission. Again, I want to keep things fairly realistic, so I'm going to send him to England. I'm going to look for a winger again because we just don't have any fast fullbacks. I want to see if we can find a quick fullback, or if not, at least some quick wingers. We've got a couple in Ajay Boateng and Lodigan, but any more would be welcome. So because I really want to find this player, or a couple of players in fact, I'm going to send him for 9 months looking for a winger. So hopefully we'll find someone good with Schumacher. Pretty appropriate name really for a fast winger that we're looking for. So let's send him off for a winger and see who we can find. So we now have a few messages to get through. We have this update from Lee, scouting report in Scotland. So Charlie Essen, 72 to 88. I think that looks pretty decent. It looks like a very good player, so we will sign that player up. Then we have Connor Williams, 57 to 79 potential. That's not good enough, so we'll reject him. David McGowan, 55 to 75. Again, reject him. Robbie McDade, 61 to 81, reject him too. Ryan Wallace, even worse, 50 to 68 potential, definitely turning him down. And then Tim McManus, 60 to 82, turning him down as well. So one decent player in there, but not much else. Then we have Demidov's report from Germany. Benedikt Lanig, 54 to 76, turning him down. Nadim Zerais, I think that's how you say that, 61 to 83, again, not really good enough. And then Thorsten Sebastian, 59 to 79, again not good enough. So that was a pretty disappointing month from those two really. But we do have this transfer offer for Paddy Malloy. It'll be a loan offer for Chesterfield, again in a different division, so we will happily accept that and send him off on loan. So we have our first friendly match, and this is against Rem. I'm going to be simming the friendlies in the preseason because there's not much point playing them, they don't count for anything. But let's see if we can get a win. We do want to, but no, we lose 2-1. Bit disappointing really, but again, it's completely pointless, it's just a friendly, so we'll pick ourselves up from that. Right, just received this offer for Curtis Simpson, a loan offer. It's from Shamrock Rovers. Happily accept that, send him out on loan to hopefully get a little bit more experience. So we now have our second friendly of pre-season. It's against St Etienne. I've changed the team around quite a lot to get some different players a bit of game time, and let's see the result, and we win 1-0. Yeah, so we swapped the team around, still got a good result though. Directly after that match we have this offer for Andrew Robson, and it's from Shrewsbury, so he'll be joining Hickford there, out on loan. Quite happy to send him out on loan there, so let's get that sorted. Transfer offers coming thick and fast now. We have one here for Joe Hayes. It's from Northampton for a season-long loan. So yep, again accept that one because he's not in the same league as us, so he should get some good experience there. So now we have our final friendly of pre-season against Marseille. Change the team round again to try and get other players on the pitch, and we win 2-1, so we managed to end on a high our friendly matches, with Lodigan and Bong getting the winning goals for us. So it is the first of the month, and that means player growth time once again. So we have Doherty on 77, he's grown. Last season he got stuck on +1 point all season, but he's grown already, and all his goalkeeper stats are growing nicely as well. So that's really encouraging to see that. Then after that we have a couple of real players before we get to Danny Corrie on 65 +1, then Keaton Nichols 61 +1, then Dylan Quinton 71, he's grown a point, +1 now, then Yuri Lodigan on 67 +1, Paulette on 77, then Kelvin Bong on 73 +1, then Bennett on 69 +1. Then we have Smith, he seems to be stuck on 61, none of his stats are growing once again, so I'll probably loan him out just to see if I can change his potential and get it to grow a bit, because that does happen sometimes. It can go down, hopefully his potential will just go up and help him grow. Then Pender on 72 +1, Mathis on 62, again not growing either, bit annoying really. Then after that we have Boviger on 67, so he's grown +1 point. Then after that we have Vatanen on 60, hasn't grown yet, but Brown on 69, he has grown already, really good to see. see that growth from him. Then to Saka, still not growing at all. Then Ajay Boateng on 70, lots of stat growth but no overall growth just yet. Then after him we have Michael Coyne on 64, then Abdel Hamid on 67 plus 1, Garassi on 67 plus 1 as well. Then soon after that we have Brad Knight on 64, Liam Osborne on 64 as well. Then Ryan Green, our monster in the middle of midfield, on 62 plus 1, he's 6'7", remember. Then Mr. Harapolo Daniel on 65 plus 1. Then Paddy Malloy on 61 plus 1, so he's grown a point. Curtis Simpson on 54 plus 1, and Andrew Robertson has grown up to 65 plus 1 now. Then after that we have Joe Hayes on 58. So that is our players and how they're growing this season. Some nice growth mixed in there, so that's pretty decent growth there. Just had another transfer offer in, this one for James Smith. It's from Northampton. I'd actually forgotten that I put him up for loan, so this could be quite good. It could either give him a bit of growth during the season, or if not, change his potential so he grows when he comes back. This unexpected offer has just come in for Nicolas Abdelhamid. It's from Barcelona. He's not actually for sale, which is why it's unexpected, but they're willing to pay £2.2 million for him, and his value is £500,000. My chief exec says I can get between 2.4 and £4 million for him though. And the thing about offers from big clubs is they can often afford a lot more than what your chief executive reckons. So I think I'm going to be a bit cheeky, and I'm going to push this up to £5 million just to see if they accept or whether they counter offer. I wasn't planning on selling Abdelhamid, but when a good offer like this comes in, it's hard to resist, and we could be able to get some very good players in place of him. Right, Barcelona have come back and they said the maximum they're willing to spend is £4.4 million on Abdelhamid, which actually is fine because my chief executive reckoned the most we could get for him was £4 million, so I will accept that. We could now hopefully spend that on maybe getting a new scout or bringing in some new players to replace him. Up next we have this game against QPR in the league. So pre-season is done, but unfortunately I've run out of time, so I have to leave that till the next episode, so make sure you come back and tune in for that. We're also going to find out how much we get for Abdelhamid to go into our transfer kitty. So if you have any suggestions of players you want me to get, places you want me to scout, any areas of the team you think need improving, please let me know so I can I'll have a look at that, see if I can put that into action. Keep all your comments coming, I read all of them and I try and improve my videos as much as possible, so make sure you keep all those going. Don't forget the Scouting Goal contest is going on this month, and it is on strikers and centre forwards. So if you found a good scouted player who's a striker or centre forward, make sure you take a picture when they're in the academy or just after they've been promoted. You can send it over to @FIFA Scouting on Twitter using the hashtag ScoutingGod, or you can send it to Facebook, which is facebook.com/FIFA Scouting Tips, or you can leave a link in the comments below if you want, or you can even submit it on FIFAScoutingTips.com. There's loads of ways of doing it. That ends at the end of the month, so you got about a week left to go on that, so make sure you get going and finding some good scouted players. Like I said, keep all your comments coming and all your suggestions. If you've got any ideas what you want me to do on the channel as well, I'd love to hear that, so keep all your feedback coming as well. Make sure you leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. But then this happened. What the hell?